Shall we just get this one over and done with?
And put the clip in from Skyrim. Yes, let's do that and continue with the video. Generally speaking, there are two ways stories about people who got shot in the face end. Either they die, or do something unthinkably badass. This is a story about the latter.
So, who are we talking about today?
Well, I'm just going to read it straight from the original article, and we're talking about a guy called Kamakura Gongoro Kagamasa, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong, so I apologise for that, but I don't speak Japanese, guys. I'm trying my best.
Who was this guy we're talking about?
Well, he was a samurai from the 11th century, mostly famous for his role in the Battle of Kanazawa, which again, we're probably pronouncing wrong. We're very, very sorry. I am not Japanese. I'm very sorry. Please don't yell about it. Actually, you know what? Do yell about it, because it's very funny to me. I am not Japanese. It's so dumb that I have to clarify that every time. Oh, Karl, why can't you pronounce this word from a language you don't speak?
Do you really get that sort of
People
abuse?
do, yeah. Say, oh, how can you not pronounce that word correctly? Oh, it's actually pronounced this way.
Well, why can't people spell your name with a K instead of a C?
Exactly. Or how come they can't spell your name anyway? No one can spell your name.
No one can say it, no one can spell it.
Oh man, you must be like a Starbucks barista's wet fucking dream. Because they've got just like an inbuilt excuse for spelling your name wrong.
You know what I do? When I go to places that require you to say your name, I instantly spell it out for them before they even ask.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to happen. Or they're going to not ask and spell it wrong and put like Alicia.
Or Keisha.
Keisha, Misha.
Quiche. I want someone to write quiche. Just a quiche. What always gets me is when I meet Americans, and I've never thought my accent's that bad until I try and speak to an American and go, oh, hi, who are you? It's Karl. Kyle? Karl. Kyle? Yeah, that'll do, mate. That'll do. Like, Karl. Kyle. Karl. Kyle. But no, apparently they sound exactly the same to the ears of every American I've ever met. And then my last name, obviously, Smallwood, always gets a giggle. So then you got to do, well, can you spell that for me, sir? It's like, well, SMALLWOOD. Yes, it's very funny. Smallwood. Small, and then wood.
Tiny forest.
That's the one. The thing is though, Tiny Forest, I would unironically love it if my last name was Karl Tiny Forest. That sounds like a Native American name, doesn't it? Like Running Bear or something like that, or like, Sleeping Beaver.
Yours is Tiny Forest.
So what is it they used to do? It's like the first thing they saw when they left the teepee after the baby was born is what they call it.
Yeah.
So it's like Screaming Eagle or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, man, walk out, Tiny Forest. The thing is, mine would be Scunthorpe Car Park. It's like, yeah, just nurses smoking in Scunthorpe Car Park. What a name. What an amazing name.
What if they walked out and just looked on the ground and just thought, oh, stick on floor? Oh, wow.
The thing is though, there are some really good Native American names out there. I fucking love like Roman Nose. He's a really good one. Named for, he's got his big giant honking nose that everyone loved. It's like, yeah, damn right. Roman Nose, let's go, baby. Or it's like Running Bear. It's like, who leaves their tent? If you saw a running bear after giving birth to a baby, like, I'm sorry, but The Revenant is happening.
It's such a rare coincidence.
Just like, do you ever think they made stuff up and just pretending they saw stuff that was cooler than it was?
Definitely,
So,
yeah.
oh, just the idea that a baby's born, Revenant happens. So, oh man, it's like those, what is it now? Those lizards in that David Attenborough documentary where they're born and then it's like thousands of snakes attack them instantly.
Oh, and don't they have to like run from one end to the other
It's like,
and try and
they are
survive?
5 seconds old and are already fighting. They're already 5 seconds old, living Indiana Jones's nightmares. And that one that survives, like the most hero lizard ever. Just like you've never seen a more alpha lizard. It's 5 seconds old and it's already just styling on snakes.
Well, don't like baby turtles have to deal with
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
There's
So
that
they get born on like stands.
So I'm really sorry for putting this clip in, but it's one of those things where it's so harsh, but it's just hilarious that it happened. And I think it was like during Spring Watch or something like, or Beach Watch.
Yeah.
They have they're watching a baby turtle, and in the background a seagull picks it up, and it happened live on TV, so they couldn't cut it.
Oh.
And the presenter's just there like,
Oh.
like, did that just happen? Have you heard recently what's happening with seagulls? Like, seagulls are stealing dogs.
Steal a dog, yeah.
Seagulls in England are stealing dogs. Like, someone had a chihuahua, and it's like, my chihuahua's gone. And went, oh, a seagull took it. No, they do. They steal dogs. They steal everything. Have you heard as well about the pelicans in London that are eating pigeons? Like, what is happening with birds?
I've not heard that story.
Have you not seen it? I feel bad putting the clip in, but people won't believe me. So here's a pelican eating a pigeon. I remember there was a photographer managed to get a photo, which we probably can't share because there'll be rights surrounding it, but it was just before the pelican shuts its mouth, and you can just see the pigeon staring out, and it's just so chill. It's like it's completely happy with its lot in life.
It knows what's coming.
It's like
content.
It's just content. It's like, you know what? I had a good run. It's like this morning I ate like, some fries out of an old box of KFC, and then I shit on someone's car. I've had a good day.
So bringing it back to Kagemasa.
Yeah, we're going to go for that pronunciation.
Yeah. What happened to him?
Well, during this battle, which nobody really knows the full details of, it's just said that he just got smashed in the eye by an arrow. And we don't know which eye the arrow hit him in. We just know that it completely destroyed the eyeball and become lodged in his skull. Unlike, Sir Daniel Fortescue, he didn't go down like a bitch and instead continued to fight with the arrow still in his face after snapping, the end of the shaft off. So it didn't, impede his ability to stab motherfuckers. And before we continue, I just want to ask, why is people getting struck in the eyeball specifically such a common thing in, fiction and media and legend? Because it's how King Harold died, isn't it?
Yeah.
He died at the Battle of Hastings by getting struck in the eye. Died. And there's a story from Chinese folklore about a big dick general who got hit in the eye, survived, and according to legend, pulled the arrow out and then ate his own eyeball. And then in Western fiction, we've got Sir Daniel Fortescue from Medieval, who dies by getting hit in the eye 5 seconds after a battle starts. We've got every guard in Skyrim, apparently, who's taken thousands of arrows to every part of their body. We've got Metal Gear Solid, where you can get arrows stuck in every part of your person, and they stay in cutscenes. I think just the image of a guy with just arrows sticking out of him is like, I'm fine. It's just very visually interesting. Because there are so many stories about it. I think there's another one from Japanese folklore again. I forget the name of the guy, but he made a last stand on a bridge. And it basically is this guy, huge fucking dude, like a big club, beating the shit out of everybody. And he died when they shot a hail of arrows at him. But the arrows hit him in such a way, they left him stood up. And for about an hour, no one dared approach the bridge because they didn't know if he was dead or not. Because the arrows pinned him in place, and they sent someone over to push him over with a stick. Which I think is so good. And then I was like, oh man, we've got some spoilers for God of War coming. So you can skip ahead 30 seconds of this one. Then the final fight you have with the stranger. You have boy combos where you're throwing Atreus through the air as he's firing arrows into Balder. And then you flip him over at the last moment and he just lands with all the arrows down. It's like, oh man. There's just something cool about people getting struck by arrows and just taking that shit.
It's either they die or they get a really life-changing, scar because they could live, but they're now blind. And they've always got a story to tell. They wear a cool eye patch. Or some sort
and as well,
of,
it gives them
bandana.
It gives them the coolest moment you can have, which is the power through it moment, like in Braveheart. Where the guy's got the arrow stuck in his chest and they've got to pull it out like the burning poker. And he just mans his way through. He goes Super Saiyan for a split second and then just punches someone out as soon as it's pulled out and starts drinking. It's like, yes, that's a legend being born right there. It's like, oh man, just that moment of just powering through. Power through the arrow.
And there's us, we complain when we stub our toes.
Yeah, I should point out as well that this guy, when he got hit in the face by this arrow, that didn't kill him. He was 16 years old when it happened. When I was 16, I took a day off from college because the sun was a bit bright and my eyes hurt. Because I just had my first beer or something the day before and I was a little bit hungover. This guy's 16 just taking arrows to the eyeball, man. If they made a movie about that today, they would just put that Superman Returns thing where the bullet bounced off Superman's eyeball. Which I contend is the greatest example of Superman's power ever seen in a film. That
is cool.
Because it was the trailer shot, wasn't it? Where the guy shoots him and then just the bullet bounced off his eyeball. It's like, holy fuck, how are you supposed to beat this guy? So there has never been a better example of Superman's powers in anything than that. Because that just highlights how truly invincible he really is. And with that in mind, before we move on, fuck it, let's talk about, do you have just a favourite example of powers being demonstrated in just a visually unique or interesting way? So with that Superman one, I think it's the first time they ever really show this is how invincible bullets just bounce off his eyeballs. And it's just such a cool image, and I like it. Is there any examples that spring to mind for you, just powers being demonstrated in a visually interesting way?
There's that moment in Spider-Man 2 where he gets thrown through the bridge.
Oh, yeah, he gets knocked off the train.
Yeah, he gets knocked off the train and then...
And you just see him, like, his spider sense kicks in, but they don't do what other movies do, or that same series do where it slows down. It's, oh no, it goes in real time.
Yeah.
And you just see him, like, go through the bridge perfectly without injuring anybody. It's like, I see what you mean with that, because it just demonstrates that Spider-Man has this, like, just complete awareness of his surroundings, and he's just able to act purely on instinct without injuring anybody. Not to mention, that film also contains what I contend is the greatest noise ever seen in a film, and it's where Spider-Man, the very first web-swinging scene in that film, where Spider-Man goes through, I think it's like a construction site, and he just goes through like a gap, and it goes, wow, as he goes through, and I every time I watch that film, I rewind that moment, because that noise is just so good. It's like the not like, just, wow, it's like fucking, oh, it's so good. Anyway, let's talk about this guy who got shot by an arrow.
So, let me get this straight, he just snapped the shaft of the arrow and left the rest of it in his eye?
Right, so there's still a little bit of it pointing out, but not so much that obviously it'd be unwieldy or could cause him extra arrow, like he bumped into somebody. And the story still gets cooler because, according to legend, he then drew an arrow of his own and shot and killed the guy who just hit him in the face. Using his bad eye, I presume. Like, using his other fucking eye. Like, he shrugged off the injury and then used the other eye to line up a shot and kill the dude who did it. And obviously the battle raged on, he survived, and then he did what most teenagers do after a long, hard day, and went and took a fucking nap, with the arrow still sticking out of his eye socket. And again, according to legend, a samurai walked past and happens upon the body, and assumed, like, quite understandably, that this guy was dead or dying, and said, oh well, the very least I can do is pull that arrow out. So he put his foot on the face and grabbed the arrow to wrench it from his skull, at which point Kagemasa got all kinds of pissed, kicked the samurai in the dick, stood up with the arrow still in his face, and challenged him to a fight, for dishonouring him in such a manner. And again, this is some video game bullshit that actually happened, folks. And I just have a special place in my heart for moments like this in real life and fiction, where someone just shrugs off what would be, for most people, a mortal wound, and just uses it to empower themselves. And, the fact that this dude did it, 16 years old makes me so annoyed. I never had that moment. And the closest I've ever gotten is, when I'm hungover and I've gone to the gym. And you're you drag his, and it feels like you're climbing Everest. It's like, ah, and you power through. But, oh, man. What's your favourite, example of that? Just the person who's been they've got the injury that should realistically have killed them, and they just walk that shit off because they're that pissed off. They use the anger to just fuel them for a couple of extra seconds. They use that time where the blood takes that one last course around their body and is replaced by just pure adrenaline and anger.
That episode of Futurama where Fry challenges Zoidberg, or Zoidberg challenges Fry.
Okay.
He just cuts his arm off.
And then he beats him with his own arm.
Beats him with his own arm.
I didn't know where you were going at, but that is an amazing example of that, because he just says oh, you cut my, you bastard, and just beats him with the arm.
Because Fry has the chance to kill Zoidberg, and he realizes no, he's my friend, and then he's puts his arms up let's stop this, and he just out the corner of the TV just sees his claw. And then he's like, oh, you bastard, just beats. Oh, man, I've completely forgot about that moment. But that is a fucking strong one. And I don't know if I can top it because it's so good. Oh, man. I was going to say Devil May Cry or some shit like that, but I don't think I can top just an ordinary human man shrugging off having his arm cut off to beat a guy to death with it. It's just delivering just constant unending mouth slaps and backhands, one after the other, with just your double hand. Oh, I swear Fry is invincible, because there's that episode where him and Amy get in a car crash and his head
his head gets knocked off.
So then I'm how does he survive?
My working theory for that is there is some unexplained behind the scenes nonsense where they just inject you with something that makes you more survivable, or there's to make you basically a better human being. Because there are so many just life-ending injuries in that thing that should realistically kill someone. The thing is, though, this story is pretty badass already, but it gets just a little bit cooler, because that samurai, upon seeing, Kagemasa stand up with this arrow lodged in his skull, immediately begged for forgiveness and said, I'm so sorry, I thought you were dead. Please, would you give me the honour of removing the arrow from your face in a respectful manner. However the fuck you managed to do that. And obviously the guy agreed, and the arrow got pulled out, and he went on to, like, you know, live a life of legend, which is now, like, you know, told endlessly in Japan, as it fucking should be, because Japan knows better than to ignore this guy's fucking story. So I believe myself and Brad have discussed the various injuries and, like, you know, accidents we've had, but we haven't, Nisha. So have you got any stories of just times you just injured yourself horribly and would now like to, like, you know, share them for the audience at home? So I've got loads. I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot.
I have a few.
Okay.
I think ones that
well, even just
would be funny.
Like, even just the common ones. Like, have you ever stepped on your straighteners before? So I did that. You know, when I used to, like, you know, when I was super emo. You burnt your face. Oh,
I burnt my neck because then I had to tell people over and over again it was not a love bite.
No, I just melted my flesh with straighteners. Oh, that's a rough one.
Yeah, I've stood on plugs numerous times.
Like,
I could mention the fact I'm super clumsy.
Yeah, oh man. So I could talk about one that I did the other day that it didn't hurt, but it had the potential to hurt. And I was, like, making a drink for the gym, and I was trying to get ice cubes in the top of a water bottle.
Right.
Like, do you know one of those metal water bottles that stays cold? But I was like, oh, I can't get the ice cubes. So I tried to push it with my finger, and I pressed too hard and got my fingernail on the edge of the metal thing, and it went halfway up my nail, but not all the way. So it ripped the nail halfway off. And obviously, like, you can't do anything with that. So that was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I had to wait for the fingernail to grow out so I could cut it. And every time I, like, you know, moved my hand a little bit, I went like that, I could feel the nail wobble and all the skin underneath. And I'm really sorry for saying I can see your thing, but that was one recently for me where I was like, that could have been a lot worse, and that really hurts.
There's one moment I remember from when I worked in retail years ago, where when you attach security tags to clothing, you obviously have the pin and you have the white security tag.
Oh, and you connect them both together and it stays on the clothing, yeah.
And there was this one time the pin wouldn't go into the tag. It was being really stubborn. So I got my hand to, like, smack it.
Like a smart person does.
Yeah, and as I did it, the security tag side fell, and I smacked my hand right onto the pin, and it went straight in my palm. And I was just like, and someone else saw me do it and was like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm like, yep. The
worst one I've ever seen of that is on a bar. And it's like, when you're making cocktails, you have a Boston shake, which is made of tempered glass. However, they look almost identical to a pint glass, which is not made of tempered glass. And obviously you can't hit it, you can't shake it around. And someone made the mistake of putting a pint glass into a cocktail shaker.
Oh no.
And obviously they made it normally, but then they went to bang it on the end, and the pint glass just shattered instantaneously. Like 15 pieces of glass got stuck in the palm of their hand, and almost just, like, basically took all the skin off this part of their hand. And they didn't come to work for like 6 weeks after that. It was like, oh, it was so bad. So obviously, just imagine a perfect circle of broken glass being shoved into your hand as you hit it as hard as you can. It's like, yeah, it wasn't a good day. And not to mention as well, what's on the inside of that glass, like, you know, lime juice, lemon juice from a cocktail. So all up in that cup on the inside of the glass, like, it's probably not the most painful thing in the world, but I imagine that stung quite a bit for a while afterwards.
I've had it where, like, because my nail beds are quite dry and the skin, like, peels off, and I have a habit of picking them.
Oh, you ever had that one where the skin goes all the way down? It's like, oh no, why would you do this?
I would, like, have painted my nails and think, oh yeah, I'm going to take nail varnish off. So I get the nail varnish remover, and as soon as it hits that finger, that sore, I'm like...
Yeah, I had to do that a lot as a kid.
Like that Peter Griffin, like, when he's
like, Oh man, the worst was when you, like, dislocate a finger or something.
Oh God, I did that with my knee.
Oh God, I've never done that, but I've done, like, I think a toe once, and then I think a finger once when I fell over. And it's where you pop it back in and you get that, it hurts until you pop, and then you get that instant relief. There's all the blood rushing. It's like, oh, just so satisfying.
I don't know if I've ever told you about how, like, I have weird toes. Where
You're going to get a lot of messages on Instagram asking to see your toes now.
That they, like, occasionally, it's usually the first and second one, just randomly just come out of socket, like it's normal. And, like, when I tell people, they're like, oh my God, that's disgusting. I'm like, oh, I'm used to it.
Yeah. And you just got to pop them back in place. Do you have to do it when you have to stand on your toe with the hip ball?
I just kind of bend my foot so it just pops it back in. And...
Yeah. Kicked a wall in a nightclub once. The next day, my foot hurt and just went... And you just hear this pop But it's instant relief.
Yeah.
And I can tell one more story that people are not they're going to hate it. But you know what? If you're stuck around this long, you don't mind something squeamish. I'm not going to name the name, but it's always stuck. And they said they had a really bad verruca on their foot. Like one of the ones where basically you cannot step up, down. It hurts that much. And they said they got so pissed off. They got like a bottle of whiskey, just drank it all. And they got a pair of pliers and they pulled it out. And they said, like, basically, and if people don't know, like, that's rooted into your foot. Yeah. And they said, again, instant relief the moment it was removed. Because obviously it pulled a huge chunk of their foot out, but it's fucking worth it not to deal with that shit again. But, yeah, pull it out with pliers. And then obviously I've got stories about people who've like, done the same thing with like toenails and stuff. When they come, when you split them in half. Yeah. Sorry, Nisha. I hope you don't have to edit this one.